Breaking news! The tension is real, the pressure is mounting, and what's happening behind the scenes could completely change the future of this franchise. I'm talking locker room drama, tension between superstars, and a quarterback whose silence may be louder than any words. If the Dolphins are serious about making a Super Bowl, Mike McDaniel is going to need more than creative moves. He's going to need a locker room that isn't on the verge of imploding. And let's be honest, Chris Grier should have been fired years ago. But yeah, he's still here making decisions that could either save this team or completely destroy it. I've got all the details, all the inside drama, and trust me, you're going to want to hear it all the way through. But before I tell you everything, be sure to like. If you've been a true Dolphins fan for over 20 years, show it. Leave this in the comments right now. Go Dolphins! My heart bleeds teal and orange, because what I'm about to tell you may change everything you think you know about this team. Okay, let's get right to the topic at hand. One of the biggest controversies right now is the polarizing figure at the center of this team, Tua Tagovailoa. And no, it's not about Tyreek Hill this time. It's about Tua. The fan base is completely divided. You either root for him no matter what, or you think he's the main problem. There's no middle ground, no gray area. And if you try to be objective, you'll be called indecisive. Someone who changes his mind. Someone who hasn't made up his mind yet. And the tension surrounding Tua right now, it's real. Very real. And speaking of tension, there's some serious drama unfolding between Tua and Tyreek Hill. Yeah, you heard that right. According to Omar Kelly, there's legitimate beef between them. This isn't just some minor disagreement. Word is, Tyreek's antics, whether it's the social media stunts or throwing subtle shots, have not only undermined Mike McDaniel but also chipped away at his relationship with Tua. This was so serious that Tyreek felt the need to publicly apologize, not just to the team, but directly to Tua. When does that happen unless things are seriously fractured behind closed doors? And let's be clear, this isn't just gossip. This has real consequences for the locker room chemistry. Tyreek undermining the head coach? Undermining Tua? That's not just locker room drama. That's the kind of thing that sinks seasons. And I gotta be honest with you, Tua is not Mr. Nice Guy right now. The guy has been dead silent this entire offseason. No workout videos. No media appearances. Nothing. And you know what? I'm here for it. I want angry Tua. I want revenge tour Tua. I want the Tua who's tired of the noise, tired of the critics, tired of the backhanded comments from his own teammates. But here's the kicker. He's not even working with his longtime trainer Nick Hicks anymore. Reportedly, Tua's locked in with the team exclusively. The Dolphins are keeping everything in-house, his health, his training, his concussion management. They want total control over his development this year. But why? Is it because they're finally fully committing to him? Or is it because they're hedging their bets before deciding on his long-term future? And let's not act like last season was sunshine and rainbows. Yeah, Tua put up some impressive numbers, but let's not forget the injuries. The brutal hit against Buffalo, the hip injury against the Texans. 6 games missed. 6 games that could have completely changed the trajectory of the season. And let me tell you, I was pissed. Not because I hate the guy, but because I know what this team is capable of if he stays on the field. There are folks who love to say Tua only thrives because of Tyreek and Waddle. And sure, weapons help, but let's talk facts. Tua was 25th in the NFL in throwing to his first read, less than Justin Herbert, less than Baker Mayfield. So this lazy narrative that all he does is throw to his first read? Completely false. When it comes to hitting second reads, he was ranked 13th, right up there with the elite. That's not an accident. That's growth. That's development. But here's where it gets wild. Defenses didn't even bother stacking the box against Miami. You know why? They didn't respect the run game. 32 quarterbacks in the NFL saw more single high safety looks than Tua. Defenses were flat out daring Miami to run the ball, knowing full well they wouldn't. Instead, they dropped 2 high safeties all game long to take away the deep threats. Guess who led the NFL in facing 2 high safeties? Tua Tagovailoa. Yeah, that's how much they feared the passing game, but also how little they respected the run game. So when people say Tua's production is inflated because of Tyreek and Waddle, remind them of this. He's doing it against the most conservative defensive looks in the league. Teams are begging Miami to run, and McDaniel, yeah, the so-called offensive genius, just wouldn't do it. And honestly, that falls back on Grier, too. The man has had years to fix the O-line and establish a credible running game. But here we are. Grier should have been shown the door ages ago. And the Tyreek situation? Man, it's a ticking time bomb. You don't just brush off a feud between your QB and your WR1. That stuff festers. And Tyreek putting Baker Mayfield on his top QB list? Come on. That's not just shade. That's a full-on eclipse over Tua. And you think Tua didn't take that personally? Oh, he did. Believe me, he did. Look, at the end of the day, Tua has to prove it this year. There's no more hiding. No more excuses. Stay healthy. Lead this team. Win a playoff game. Because if not, the Dolphins have a real decision to make. They could trade Tyreek. They could trade Jalen Ramsey. They could even move on from Tua. That's not me speculating. That's real talk based on how the contracts are structured. They could free up nearly $80 million next offseason if things go sideways. This is a make or break year for Tua, for McDaniel, and for Greer. So the big question is, which Tua are the Dolphins getting this year? Are we getting the locked in, angry, prove you wrong Tua who's ready to lead this team deep into the playoffs? Or are we going to see the same pattern, flashes of brilliance followed by injuries and disappointment? Is this finally the year where Tua silences every critic and drags this team deep into January football? Or is this just another setup for heartbreak? Because let me tell you, the stakes have never been higher. This isn't just about Tua's reputation. This is about the future of the Miami Dolphins. This front office is sitting on a razor's edge. If Tua balls out, if he leads this team to a playoff win, maybe even further, then everything changes. But if he doesn't, oh man, this team could look completely different by this time next year. And it's not just about Tua either. Let's not ignore the elephant in the room, Tyreek Hill. That apology he made during Super Bowl week, that wasn't some feel-good, let's be friends moment. That was damage control. Straight up PR survival. Because the reality is, Tyreek's antics have burned a lot of goodwill with this locker room. Undermining the head coach. Undermining the quarterback. And yeah, while a lot of us love watching him torch defenses on Sundays, you better believe the front office is watching all this drama unfold behind closed doors. There are rumblings, and I mean serious rumblings, that the Dolphins could be ready to hit the reset button if this thing goes sideways. Trade Tyreek. Trade Ramsey. Move on from Tua. Reload the roster with $80 million in cap space. You think that's wild? Look at how this roster is structured. The contracts are set up perfectly for a massive teardown if needed. And with Chris Greer still making decisions, yeah, the same Greer who should have been canned years ago, you never really know what this guy is going to do. He's the king of half measures. Always has been. But let's go deeper. Why is Tua radio silent right now? Some say it's because he's focused, dialed in like never before. Others think it's because he's frustrated, tired of the noise, tired of the constant criticism, tired of teammates throwing shade in public. And honestly, I think it's a bit of both. I think Tua is cooking up something behind the scenes. I think he's gearing up for the most important season of his career. And that leads to one of the most fascinating questions hanging over this team. What happens if Tua stays healthy for an entire season? Look at the numbers. Look at the tape. When Tua is on the field and firing on all cylinders, this offense is lethal. You've got defenses running scared, sitting back in two high shells all game long because they're terrified of getting burned deep. But when Tua goes down, everything collapses. The offense grinds to a halt. The defense gets overworked. The whole house of cards comes tumbling down. And let's not act like McDaniel is off the hook here either. He came in with this genius offensive mind reputation. But where's the balance? Where's the commitment to the run game? Where's the adaptability when teams figure out how to counter the deep ball? The guy's offense looks unstoppable when everything's going right. But when it isn't, it falls apart fast. And a big part of that failure falls directly on Greer's shoulders. How many years are we going to keep watching this man neglect the offensive line? How many more seasons are we going to pretend like it's fine to let Tua get slammed into the turf because the protection just isn't there? And now let's talk about leadership. There's been this narrative floating around that Tua isn't a real leader, that he's too quiet, that he doesn't command the locker room. Absolute nonsense. Go watch Hard Knocks. Watch the clip where he completely takes over the offense late in the game against Dallas. He's telling McDaniel to back off, handling the play calls himself, taking charge in the huddle. That's leadership. That's ownership of the offense. But you won't hear the haters talk about that.